From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story this evening. Former Fairbanks School District employee Claude Folks, who is charged with 1 felony count of sexual assault and 9 felony counts of sex abuse of a minor, appeared today in Superior Court. The alleged assault and abuse took place while Folks was working as a tutor for the district. He is charged in 2 separate cases. At a representation hearing today, Folks expressed concern that his trials were being delayed and he was, quote, being put off by the courts, end quote. Citing client-attorney privilege, Judge Michael McConaughey removed state attorneys, media, and the public from the hearing. His ruling was therefore unavailable as of press time. Governor Bill Walker says rules on how marijuana will be regulated will be issued on schedule. 2 weeks ago, Walker said he was considering extending the deadline to set the rules for marijuana sales. After meeting with the heads of state agencies, he said he's confident the task will be completed on time. Ballot Measure 2 allows the regulated sale of marijuana effective February 24th. The 2014 general election became the most expensive single election in Alaska history, with candidates and independent groups spending nearly $60 million at the heart of that spending, which was the U.S. Senate race between incumbent Mark Begich and Republican challenger Dan Sullivan. Here's Jamie Schwartzwald now with a review of the 2014 election season in Alaska.
Former Alaska Attorney General and DNR Commissioner Dan Sullivan will serve his first term as a United States Senator after beating Democrat Mark Begich in the November 4th general election by just over 2% of the vote. Mr. Begich ran a campaign based on experience and relied heavily on his status as a longtime Alaskan while attacking Sullivan's Ohio roots. Sullivan attacked Begich's voting record and likened the former Anchorage mayor to a foot soldier for the President Obama administration. Sullivan had support from Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, as well as other Senate Republicans.
Because they know exactly how important this race is. This race is going to decide the control of the United States Senate.
Republicans took control of the U.S. Senate before Sullivan's victory over Begich was certified. Alaska's gubernatorial race between incumbent Sean Parnell and challenger Bill Walker was another high-profile contest in the 49th state. Energy and budget issues encompassed this race. However, the difference turned out to be diversity. In an unprecedented move, Walker rebuked his Republican Party affiliation and joined forces with Byron Malott, who had won the Democratic gubernatorial nomination in the primary. The handling of an Alaska National Guard sex scandal ultimately did Parnell in, as Walker claimed victory by just over a 2% margin. Governor Walker has been busy since taking office on December 1st, slashing capital spending plans as the state faces a $3.5 billion budget deficit. At his swearing-in ceremony, Walker vowed to lead an open administration.
Open dialogue, inclusive problem-solving strategies will be the hallmark of my administration.
Senate Bill 21, or the More Alaska Production Act, changed the way the state levies taxes on oil producers operating in Alaska. A ballot referendum appeared in the August primary. It asked voters to abolish the tax structure, with supporters calling it the $2 billion tax giveaway to producers. Opponents of the measure claim the tax structure was doing as intended and stemming the recent decline of North Slope oil production. The referendum was soundly defeated by a 5% margin. Ballot Measure 2, which appeared on the general election ballot, sought to legalize the use and regulate the sale of marijuana in Alaska. It passed by a near 6.5% margin. Legal marijuana will become law in February, while the retail sale of pot is still over a year away in Alaska. Local municipalities, including the Fairbanks North Star Borough, plan to craft ordinances to deal with the new industry.
So cannabis and marijuana are not in our zoning code anywhere currently, and they should be. Most of the community recognizes that we probably don't want these establishments next to a daycare center or a church.
All right, when we come back, getting ready for the annual Fireworks Sparktacular at UAF, my alma mater. Also, the Breast Cancer Detection Center and North Star Radiology will team up to provide quicker analysis of medical scans. Those stories are next. Stay with us. And welcome back. The Alaska Air National Guard's Rescue Squadron found a lost hunter in the Minto Flats Game Refuge west of Fairbanks yesterday. He became separated from his hunting party after his snow machine started giving him trouble. He stayed behind to fix it and later texted that he was on his way. When he didn't show up, a member of the group called state troopers. Troopers then launched 2 helicopters to search the area, but when it started getting dark, the Rescue Coordination Center was called. Now, the National Guard helicopter flew to Minto Flats Game Refuge and found the man whose snow machine had broken down again. The Guard crew hoisted the man into the helicopter and flew him to Fairbanks Memorial Hospital, where he was released uninjured. Tomorrow evening, the university is hosting its 25th annual New Year's Eve firework display. The Sparktacular celebration is set to launch from the UAF West Ridge area at 8 p.m. The fireworks first began in 1989 at the Dock Mushers Hall by the Lions Club. The event is organized by Mike Thomas, owner of University Chevron, and is sponsored by several Fairbanks community groups and businesses. Thomas says some of the best places to see the fireworks are along the Parks Highway near Geist Road and at the UAF Museum, which will be open with refreshments. He also says this event takes highly skilled and licensed pyrotechnics to choreograph the show.
They have to have some very special permits and stuff in order to do it. So, you know, you and I can go over here to Guerrilla Fireworks and buy some bottle rockets, and that's just fine. But in order to do what we're doing, take some a skilled person, and then they said they were going to try to do some cool stuff because this is our 25th year.
Here at the UA Museum of the North on the UAF campus from 7 to 9 p.m. we'll be serving hot chocolate and cookies. The fireworks start at 8.
Recently, the Breast Cancer Detection Center of Alaska announced that they would be teaming up with North Star Radiology to provide quicker analysis of medical scans. And as we hear in this report from Mike Schultz, this is great news for many women in the interior.
Key for this really has to do with the whole goal of the Breast Cancer Detection Center or their mission, which is to provide breast care to patients regardless of the ability to pay. So we fall in line with that as well to make sure that we get as many patients or taken care of as possible, as many women seen and go forth.
Dr. Jed Malin is the medical director at North Star Radiology, and he says this new partnership with BCDC will make it an easier process for patients.
At that point, because not all women need an ultrasound, so it just depends on what we actually see there. But so initially they would come through with a screening mammogram, and then they would get what we call a diagnostic mammogram, and then from there we would do an ultrasound if needed. So we provide that service to the Breast Cancer Detection Center 1 day a week, and then can schedule all of those around that time. So those would be scheduled in advance.
Bottom line is less time, and that means less opportunity for stress. It's a win-win all the way around.
So what this will bring to the community is much more consistent care. So before it's been somewhat fragmented. Meaning that you would have to go to several different places. So right now the goal is to try and keep every woman, at the Breast Cancer Detection Center who's getting imaged there, so they can get all of their care there. And in the future, we would be able to hopefully provide more than that, like biopsies and so forth. But, at this point, the goal is really to just try and get as much done right there locally in the Breast Cancer Detection Center itself.
So thanks to these two agencies combining their expertise, the hope is that women will now be more inspired to ensure they have their annual breast examinations. Mike Schultz reporting.
This report is brought to you by the Ear, Nose, and Throat Clinic, located in the Medical Dental Arts Building. Call 456-7768.
Hey, Joe Cook joins me now. I like your tie today, lime green.
Thank you.
Yes,
a lot of people complimenting me on this tie.
Yeah, very good. No, it's good.
I got style.
And you know what's great from what I hear? Some high school sports action news.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Some notable results in high school basketball tournament games. A long winning streak has ended.
Wow.
Big one there. Plus, we continue to look back at some of the top sports moments in 2014, so stay with us. Welcome back, Interior Sports fans. Joe Cook here with your local sports this Tuesday. Today, the North Pole Patriots got their first win at the Clark Cochran Christmas Classic. Monday night, they lost to the whole school, Ketchikan 70-36. Today, they played the Craig Panthers. North Pole led 26-23 at the half. Shane Hurst, he led North Pole with 12 points. The Patriots were up 41-33 at the end of the third quarter as well. But in the fourth quarter, the Craig Panthers made a run. This game went down to the wire. The Panthers got some stops and hit a huge three to tie the game at 47-all with 2 minutes left on a Cam Burt three. He led Craig with 12 points on the ensuing possession. However, Tyler DeAngelis answered with a clutch 3 of his own. He had 11, and it was 50-47. North Pole, good shot right there. Simi skips. He would score after a Craig miss with 1:14 left to give the Pats a 52-47 advantage. North Pole, they hold on for a 56-50 win. Now we're going on to some more results. Huge result this evening. Monroe's 51-game winning streak has been snapped. Anacortes out of Washington defeated Monroe 64-53 in the semis of the Clark-Cochran tourney. Ty Johnson hit 7 of Anacortes' 11 threes, scoring a game-high 27 points. Jalen McCullough had 19 in the loss for the Rams. Monroe's last loss was February 2nd, 2013 to ACS. Shout out to Steve Zanazzo who hit me with that stat. And the Hutch boys, they lost to Sunbury out of Australia 51-61 this evening. Xavier Udebe led the Hawks with 19 points in the loss. So going on to girls basketball and more from that tournament in Ketchikan. The Monroe Rams girls, they won 32-22 over Craig today. The Rams fell to Sitka 51-23 in their opener yesterday. In Hawaii, the Hutchinson girls beat Southridge of British Columbia 39-25. Ashley Stark had 13 points and 12 boards for Hutch. And check out this play from the Barrel, Whaler, and Thunder Mountain game at the Doc Larson Roundball Classic. The Falcons rallied late to tie the game at 59, but the Whalers had the last possession, and on the last play, the ball goes to the hands of Mankana Agiak, not the freshman phenom in Kameka Hepa. And Agiak, he delivers the game-winning shot with no ease, no sweat. Barrel remains undefeated to start their season with a talented group of freshmen. What a shot for the Barrel Whalers. It's Tuesday, so it's Nanack Corner time. In this edition, we continue to relive some of the top moments in 2014. You can't forget about arguably the greatest shot in Nanack men's basketball history. Andrew Kelly's buzzer beater in the season finale against UAA back in March stopped an 8-year losing streak to the rival Seawolves. The 70-68 win also completed a 13-point comeback in the final 7 minutes on an epic senior night. Another senior had a year to remember. Cody Kunick led the WCHA in scoring with 43 points. He was named the Conference Player of the Year. The Sherwood Park, Alberta native finished his career with 133 career points, which is 13th all-time. He went on to sign a deal with the Tampa Bay Lightning and made his debut against the Capitals. He is currently playing for the Syracuse Crunch of the AHL and has 10 points in 29 games. Now stories that are a little more current. In November, the NCAA handed down sanctions on the UAF athletic department, which included postseason bans in hockey, men's and women's basketball, and swimming for eligibility infractions self-reported by UAF. The Nanacks recently appealed the postseason bans in swimming and women's basketball. Speaking of women's basketball, they're off to a historic start. After beating Texas A&M Kingsville on December 20th, the UAF women improved to 8-4, some most wins they've had before Christmas in GNAC history. Lastly, Tim Cherry and Nicole Baith were named Male and Female Athlete of the Year. Tim Cherry won the National Small Board title for the rifle team, and Baith was first-team All-American skier and Central Region champion as a freshman.
Nanack Corner, brought to you by Sports Medicine Fairbanks.
And now we relive some more of 2014's top moments. Here's a few. We start our moments of the year in March at the Arctic Winter Games. Grace Lee of North Pole won 3 gold medals in the short, long, and combined programs to lead Team Alaska. Lee was the only skater to earn 3 golds, and she won by at least 15 points in each program. Thanks to Angel Lee for the story submission. We'll stay on the ice for our next moment. Fairbanks Ice Dogs won their 2nd Robertson Cup title in franchise history back in May. They swept the Austin Bruins with a 5-4 overtime win on Friday night and a blowout 6-2 victory in Game 2 to secure their 2nd Robbie Cup in 3 years. The Fairbanks Ice Dogs also won Organization of the Year. Rob Profit was named GM of the Year for the 4th straight time. Head coach Trevor Stewart was the Coach of the Year, and goalie Kevin Aldridge was the Robertson Cup playoff MVP. A clean sweep for the Dogs. Speaking of champions, you can't forget the dynasty of the Monroe Rams basketball team. Back in March, Monroe completes an undefeated season with a 3rd straight 3A state title. They beat Grace Christian 58-47 in the title game after taking out arch rival ACS 56-50 in the semifinal. More interior champions were crowned in 2014. The Alaska Gold Panthers won their 2nd straight Alaska Baseball League championship in July with a 2-1 win over the Mat-Su Miners. Alaska won the regular season title with a 21-8 record. 7 Gold Panthers were named to the All-ABL team, and Panthers manager Mike Rahovic won Manager of the Year. And now a final score. The Ice Dogs defeat the Johnstown Tomahawks 6-3 in their first game after their Christmas break. We'll have more on that tomorrow. That's it for sports. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Welcome back in, everyone, to the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again. We talked about warm temperatures moving our way yesterday. They have moved in fact, today we're over 30 degrees in many locations around the area, and we have some light rain that has been reported in the North Pole area, so watch out driving, because obviously that could freeze when it hits the road contact and give you freezing rain. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Photograph night sent in by James Clough, the Alaska Range sunrise. You can see here, once again, the beautiful colors of the Alaska Range in the distance there, and the city in the foreground. Again, as always, if you have a photograph to share, send it to us at photos@ktvf11.com. We'll share it with the rest of the audience. Here's your almanac for today. Today's high 33 degrees. The overnight low last night, 27. A record high 35 in 1982. A record low 57 below in 1961. Sunrise and sunset about 3 hours and 58 minutes. A gain of 2 minutes from yesterday. We'll go over the 4-hour barrier tomorrow. That's worth celebrating. On our satellite and radar, you can see once again the flow is coming right out of the south. Look at all the Alaska Range blocking out all the moisture from moving in to the Fairbanks area. A little closer look at the radar. You can see the Alaska Range sitting right about here. Again, the moisture is just being blocked out and being shot over the top of the Fairbanks area, over to the mountains to the north of us, and we're not really getting anything but a few pockets of moisture here and there, but they are bringing some sprinkles, so keep that in mind. Elsewhere across the state, rain has returned over southeast Alaska. A little rain and snow around the Anchorage Bowl, 33 degrees there. Along the Aleutian chain, mainly cloudy skies. Clear to partly cloudy skies up and down the west coast. Cloudy skies on the north slope, 1 degree below at Barrow. And Fort Yukon, 18 above. So not too bad. Lower 48 weather, they're getting ready for a big winter storm. All the ingredients are coming together. The cold temperatures. The showers that we had over Los Angeles have moved out, but they're going to return. Pretty chilly in Dallas, 45 degrees there. Minneapolis, 4 degrees. And rain falling around the Miami area. On the satellite radar, you can see a little bit of snow shower activity moving across the northern and central and southern plains, while over to the California area, the storm is taking shape. You can see the circulation starting to develop on the last area of satellite picture here. And when it all comes together, here's what's expected to happen. 1 to 3 inches of snow once again in Las Vegas area. A lot of snow near Flagstaff, Arizona, maybe in the 2 feet area expected there. And elsewhere, as that storm moves on the plains, it'll be bringing with it quite a wild bit of weather too. Rain, heavy, all the way over the deep south, and then the cold temperatures continue across the Great Lakes, and the harsh cold will slowly work its way back to the north. All right, back to Alaska for tomorrow in the northern sections. Blizzard conditions expected in the Barrow area. Periods of snow for Nome and also at Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, the winds are finally starting to die down. Scattered snow showers at Fairbanks and Delta, and a little bit of snow is likely for the Healy region. Over southeast Alaska, it looks like occasional rain at Juneau with cloudy skies and a chance of rain in Ketchikan. And over the southwest part of the state, cloudy skies in Bethel, partly cloudy skies at Cold Bay and also at Kodiak Island. And down around the Anchorage Bowl area, rain and snow in Anchorage, cloudy skies at Homer, 2 to 4 inches of snow expected for Valdez. All right, time once again for our weather fact as the kids are still on vacation. And the weather fact is in 1955, Anchorage had 47 inches of snow on the ground at this time in 1955, but today there's only 6 on the ground. So what a difference some snowfall can make as far as big storms coming around. Thanks to Mount McKinley Bank. And of course, the kids are on vacation until the 6th of January. The youngsters from Pearl Creek Elementary will be here next week as we once again resume our kids' weather program. Tonight, 17 degrees below zero, I should say 17 degrees above zero, with light freezing rain possible, then some snow showers later on. Tomorrow's forecast, scattered snow showers, not quite as warm as was today, but still way above normal, 27 degrees. But the 5-day outlook is calling for a cooling trend to move back into the area. In fact, we're looking at temperatures dropping down to the single digits above, with overnight lows also cooling down, but not that bad for this time of year. We can also be looking at the possibility of snow moving out of the picture, being replaced by lots of sunshine. So tonight it could be a little dicey, guys, because there are some pockets of moisture out there, so we've got to keep an eye out for the possibility of some light rain.
Oh, and once that rain coats those roadways, that can be treacherous in the morning.
Definitely,
that's for sure.
That's it.
All right, thanks, Mike. And that will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are, of course, glad you could join us.
However, we like to pass along some really good news.
Good news.
That's right, Joe.
Good-
KTVF
good
and GCI reached an agreement today, which will mean that local programming will not be affected.
Now, this means that the playoff games will be seen this weekend without interruption. Yeah, along with the Blacklist, some of your favorite shows, and most importantly, the Super Bowl in February.
I guess I'll watch that, even though the 49ers aren't in it. But I'm sure you'll watch it too. So with that, we'll say thanks for joining us, and we'll see you here back at 11.
Good night.